Hello, Steve White, Steve White's 89. Well, I watched Doctor Who, The Legend of the Sea Devils. It was very difficult, just finding it. I'm sure it was originally advertised to be on Sunday, but then on Sunday I couldn't find it. There were other shows on at the same time, actually, so I wasn't that bothered. And then I asked people on some of the Doctor Who Facebook forums when it was going to be shown. No one answered, but I did see someone mention it was going to be Monday. So I thought, okay. I looked again. I couldn't find it anywhere on any of the TV guys I was looking at, and I sort of gave up. And then around 7:45, I had a look, and it had already been on for 10 minutes on ABC Kids. So I was looking on ABC, ABC One, all the ABC channels, but I didn't look on ABC Kids because I wasn't aware this was a kids program. And then I watched it, and I'm like, oh, when did Doctor Who become a kids program? It was totally juvenile. Visually it was interesting, but it was just, when did they start making this for kids? And I know some people will say Doctor Who was always for kids, but they're the same sort of people who think all science fiction is just for kids. But I don't remember it being like this. Even the last few episodes I did actually watch, because I've only seen a few episodes of, I think it was season 13, and the last special. That's really all I've seen of Doctor Who since the first season of the reboot. Because I saw a few Dr. Baker episodes, Tom Baker, sorry, episodes that were repeated years ago when I was a kid, and that for me was Doctor Who. And then it wasn't until the first season I watched that with a friend, and then I didn't watch the other seasons. I kept meaning to get the DVDs, it just never happened, and now here we are. It's like 12 years later. And there was all this drama about the female Doctor Who and everything, and people saying that the show had gone downhill and it wasn't fun anymore. It was just preachy and political, and I watched it and it was fine. I wasn't quite sure what people were going on about, but all of a sudden I'm watching it and I'm like, am I watching a kids program? Like, what is this? We've got these sea devils who have heads like something you would have expected to see on Lost in Space, the 1960s version, because they had the big giant heads that they like rented from somewhere else. Aliens like frogs and like just ridiculousness. And that's what these guys look like. Now, for those who will criticise things like Discovery and Picard because they stray so far away from the original source material and the original look of the original Star Trek, I think they've stuck too close to the original look here, because I'm guessing the Sea Devils originally were people walking around with giant fish heads on, and they tried to preserve that look, and now they've got people walking around with giant fish heads on, and they seem to just be augmenting the eyes and various elements of the mask visually just to make it look like it's actually alive. It didn't feel like a CGI head or physical makeup. It felt like they had just made like a big fish head, and they were just like making the nostrils move or making the eyes blink digitally. It didn't feel like quite anything I've seen before. But it was interesting because it felt primitive, like something you'd have in the 60s, like an old, like giant sort of paper mache fish head sort of costume, but it still, moved and felt alive. So that was interesting. And the ships, the old Spanish galleon pirate ship looking ships that are actually spaceships that fly and can go under the water, they were kind of amazing to look at. They did look good, and there's a level of imagination to it that I did appreciate. Like, I could just sit back and watch the ships move around and be like, wow. But it just felt like for kids. Now we get to the part that's not for kids. They finally broached the whole relationship situation between Yaz and the Doctor. Basically, they're down under the sea. They've opened up the TARDIS and they've got a force field so they can just stand out and look under the water. And she's like, "See, I'm not a bad date, am I?" And she's like, you went there. So they start talking, and they eventually get back to it, and she says, "Look, I can't have a relationship. They always end badly. They always end in hurt. Time's always a problem. Time runs out. But you're the best person that I've ever known, and that's including my wife, because, apparently the Doctor was married once when he was a man, and when they were a man." And she's like, "I can't, but if I did, it would be you." So I'm sorry, but yeah, it would be you if I was going to. So they kind of broached it. It was kind of interesting. But yeah, basically these fish monsters want to destroy the Earth because they believe the Earth was theirs, because they came from the Earth and they were the original inhabitants or something. So they try to destroy the I wrote it down. Flip the geomagnetic pulse. So they basically flood the Earth and make it for the fishes. But they end up fighting the guy with swords, and one of the Asian captain, who's been suspended in time for 500 years from when they first stole one of the ships. The doctor knocks out the fish guy, the sea devil, and he stabs him. And then they basically just use the ship to reverse everything and then destroy the ship. And that's the end of it. And that's about how complicated the story was. Evil fishmen pop up to do bad thing. We beat them up and reverse everything. It was about that deep. So I was kind of disappointed. On one level, I appreciated the visuals. And I sort of felt that there's something about the older shows where you had to use your imagination on some level, because they didn't give you everything, but they gave us a lot with this. But you still sort of, I don't know, it felt very childlike in a way. I don't. I can't quite work out what Doctor Who is now. Is it like a parody of a kids show? Is it a kids show? Is it a very what's the word? Not nostalgic. I don't know. I'm just going to give up. It was interesting. It was disappointing. I'm not sure where they're going with this. The next episode looks like the episode where the Doctor dies and regenerates, and there's a whole lot of drama about the regeneration. There's a whole lot of drama about what they're going to do in the next series, because the guy's taking over. They're speculating that is he going to adhere to what was set up by Chibnall, or is he going to just ignore it? Because apparently there have been times in the past where people have come in and ignored past canon for Doctor Who, and supposedly there's no Bible for Doctor Who, and I'm like, I thought there was. I'm very confused. I need to do more research, because I really cannot work out what's happening with this show. Like I said before, there's 6 decades of shows that I haven't seen, and there's just no way to get into this show unless you've seen a certain amount of it. And I'm finding it impossible. But I don't know. The New Year's Eve episode was almost fun, but it was just like a Groundhog Day cause and effect episode. And this one was like a monster episode where you've got the big-headed sea monsters who are easily defeated in a very easy sort of bad guy plot. And diversity-wise, they had a lot of Asian characters, because it was an Asian village that the sea monster was trapped in a statue and freed when someone was trying to use him to find the treasure to ransom back their crew. It was all a bit complicated. And I don't know what to think of this show. It just seems like it's for kids. It seems like it's just not taking itself seriously. It doesn't feel like a parody, but I don't know. But I don't know. The Doctor is really annoying. She made one joke that made me laugh when he was talking about the evil guy was talking, the baddie was talking about doing something. She said, "Don't give me card details." He's like, "Shut up," because she's always making these little quips and just talking, smart ass, and I'm like, I don't remember the other Doctors being like this. Is this her version? Because her version is annoying. So I don't know. I need to dedicate a week or two to working Doctor Who out so I can actually understand it, to critique it, because I'm finding myself really struggling to say anything intelligent about this other than I felt like I was watching a kid's show, and that's why I couldn't find it in the first place. Like, I missed the first 20 minutes, so I watched the second half, the last half an hour, then I had to go back and stream it from the start and watch the whole thing again, which I needed to do because I couldn't remember how it ended, because it was so simple the way they just fought this fish guy in a sword battle and killed him, and then they just reversed everything using his ship to, reverse everything he was doing. So, yeah, and they were just sitting on a beach talking about relationships and so forth. So, and the British guy was dressed like a pirate, like the Wiggles pirate level of sophistication. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I'm still talking because I can't quite understand what I just saw. But I'm going to go because I've talked for more than 10 minutes and I've got to stop it at that point. I'll watch the next one because I want to see how they like end Jodie Whittaker's era. But I really don't know what to make of this show. Was Doctor Who ever any good? Was it always just a kids show? Is it something that was built up to be more than it was, and I'm having trouble finding the myth of it, or has it just gone bad? I can't tell. Someone help me. I'm going to go.